All right, well, our next guest is a friend of mine, but you know him as the director of the hugely successful Jesus Thirsts. Tim Moriarty, welcome.
Claire, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for having me.
So, first of all, congratulations. You're the executive director of Castletown Media that just had such huge success with Jesus Thirsts in theaters. I mean, how many times do you get renewed? Congratulations. How does it feel to be right off of that huge success?
Thanks so much. Yeah, we were really overwhelmed. I think it shows just the hunger that's out there. Who would have thought that a film about the Eucharist would end up being, the number one highest grossing documentary film of 2024? So for us, it was surprising, but then and at the same time, it wasn't surprising because those of us that have, experienced the great gift of the Eucharist know how powerful it is, and to see people who saw the film, who, I had some family members that called who'd been away from the church who were just overwhelmed by it, and just the way in which they saw something that maybe they had discarded a while ago to look at it with fresh eyes. So we were really overwhelmed and just humbled by the response, and just it feels like God is really doing something in our culture today in the midst of all the challenges. And this film was a kind of a wake up call to a lot of Catholics about, wow, we really have something beautiful here.
Amen. And so it's so great to see you go right off of that into your next project. You have a new film coming out that we're here to talk about today about Blessed Carlo. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Absolutely, yeah. So this film again, we're in partnership with Jim Wahlberg, who's a producer on Jesus Thirst as well, and we're really excited about this film. It's called Roadmap to Reality: Carlo Acutis and Our Digital Age, and the genesis of it came out of Beaumont, Texas. The C3 Foundation had recently created a camp for the youth of the Diocese of Beaumont, and they're very close to Bishop Toops down there, and Bishop Toops was very adamant that he wanted the chapel to be named after Blessed Carlo Acutis. And so the success of that camp and the funders of that camp, they started to dive into the life of Carlo and said, we really want to share this story with as broad an audience as possible, especially with the youth today. We're really in a crisis um, in our culture with young people. Like, some of the statistics are really terrifying in terms of where just the crisis of mental illness. Some of the studies that showed, what were young people doing prior to COVID? The average screen time was somewhere around 3.5 hours a day. During COVID, that bumped up to over 7.5 hours a day of screen time. And then you see the studies that have shown mental illness. There's something like over 40% of Generation Z has a kind of diagnosed mental illness now. 20% have actually thought and created a suicide plan. I mean, you look at the numbers and it's absolutely horrifying. So Carlo Acutis, I mean, G.K. Chesterton has a wonderful quote that he said, God sends, a particular saint to the age, and the qualities of that saint are particular to the needs of that time. Carlo is the saint of our times because here he is. He'll be the first millennial saint, and he is somebody who understood the great gift, the great value of digital technology. But in discussions with his family and with his mother, he understood the dangers as well. He had a tremendous capacity, or he really exhibited a virtue of temperance, where um, he would, he loved video games, for example, but he would play 1 hour a week because he realized that this could sort of take him over. There's an addictive quality to this. So he understood that, hey, this technology can be used as a really powerful tool of evangelization, but at the same time, we need to be careful with it. It's doing something to us. It's changing us. And so our attempt at looking at Carlo is we want to look at Carlo at just the beautiful life he lived, the extraordinary life he lived in the midst of his ordinary life. But more than that, we want to look at the world through the eyes of Carlo. We want to see, how do we get back in touch with the real? How do we get back in touch with reality, with a deep connection to the natural world, with deep, abiding friendships, real human friendships? And Carlo's way to do that as well, he called the Eucharist his highway to heaven. How do we find Christ in the Eucharist, and how is that in a way an anecdote to some of the disorder we're seeing in this kind of move to this virtual world, this digital age that is in many ways supplanting the real.
Yeah, beautifully said. I think that the word you said that we're just going to see keep coming up is reality. And it's interesting, this common thread between your two most recent projects, whether it be Jesus Thirst or now Blessed Carlo. we're showing something to people miraculous, something that can seem so fantastic, but reality always breaks through.
Right.
Blessed
Right.
Carlo is interesting. The projects that you're creating are interesting because they're both for, I guess, millennials and Gen Z, because you and I recognize him as one of us, but Gen Z is just going to encounter him as a teenager. Who do you
Yeah.
think is the perfect audience for this new film?
Well, this film is really geared towards young people. I mean, one of the things we're doing in the film, we want to show, some of the theoretical stuff about technology. We want to show the biographical, but we're also tracking a journey of some young high school students who go on pilgrimage they're from North Dakota. They go on a pilgrimage to Italy to visit Carlo in Assisi, to visit his tomb. And part of the pilgrimage, they have to put their phones aside. They can't be plugged into the internet during this 2 week process. So we're trying to give a real life experience of kids who are in the midst of this really confusing time, who are on a journey to get in touch with real reality, to get in touch with God, the friendships that are formed. So this is geared towards young people, but it's also geared towards those older demographics who are trying to wrestle with these questions of how do we raise children in the midst of the digital revolution with this onslaught now, the new challenges with AI. How do we stay tethered to what's true, good, and beautiful in the midst of these very chaotic waters? So the audience is really young people, but it's ultimately all of us, because as Catholics we believe that saints are models for living holiness in the midst of a particular time, a particular age. So Carlo, the church is holding him up, the first millennial saint, the saint of our digital age. We want to present this film as a way to say, yeah, how can we follow in his footsteps and live a life of true sanity and sanctity today?
Well, I can't wait to watch it. When can I watch it?
So the plan is to release the film in the spring of 2025. So there's a little bit of time. We're encouraging people to check out our website, carloacutisfilm.com. You can add your email address. We'll be getting updates and giving updates as we go. We plan on giving behind the scenes footage. So carloacutisfilm.com is the best way right now to kind of stay updated. And we're really excited about spring of 2025 to be sharing it in theaters across the country.
All right, Tim Moriarty, thank you so much.
Claire, thanks so much for the time.